Breaking news as of tonight. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake just detonated inside the Earth. Not near the surface, not close to land. 385 miles straight down into the mantle. That is deeper than the distance from New York City to Boston. Straight down. No tsunami warning was issued because at that depth, the ocean floor barely flinched. But here is what the news is not telling you tonight. In 72 hours, a massive sunspot cluster rotates into direct Earth-facing position. And every seismologist who tracks solar activity is watching that clock right now. Because the last time conditions lined up exactly like this, the planet did not get one big earthquake, it got a sequence of them. Stay with me. At the 3:20 mark, I will show you the exact locations on United States soil sitting on a hair trigger tonight. And at minute 6, you will get a step-by-step plan so your family is not caught off guard if the ground moves tonight. Let's go. One of our viewers sent us a message last week. His name is Mike. He lives in Toms River, New Jersey. He wrote, "I was sitting in my kitchen when the walls started shaking. My dishes hit the floor. My dog completely lost it. I had no idea New Jersey even got earthquakes." That earthquake registered 4.8, the largest to hit the entire East Coast in over a decade. Mike had no shoes near his bed, no water stored, no plan whatsoever. He got lucky, because what may be building right now is in a completely different category from what he felt. And there is something else about that New Jersey quake that got buried immediately after it happened. We will get to that at minute 4. First, let's talk about what has actually been happening beneath your feet for the past 30 days, because the pattern is not random, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. December 8th, 2025, a magnitude 7.6 strikes Japan, massive, felt across the entire Pacific. Then silence. 10 weeks. The planet went almost completely quiet. Geologists call this a seismic drought, and here is what the textbooks do not tell you. The Earth does not store that energy forever, it always pays it back, and it does not pay it back slowly. 50 years of global seismic data show that after long droughts like this, the planet releases energy in clusters, multiple major earthquakes, days apart, sometimes hours. And about 3 weeks ago, the payments started coming in. February 4th, magnitude 6.1, Kermadec Trench, 103 miles underground. February 10th, magnitude 6.2, Fiji, 316 miles underground. February 22nd, same zone, same coordinates, magnitude 6.0, this time 406 miles down. You see the pattern, right each event deeper than the last, same spot, getting worse each time. Then just days later, the magnitude 7.1 in Malaysia, 385 miles underground, the biggest earthquake on Earth since December. And here is something that flew completely under the radar. An amateur earthquake tracker in Australia has been sending messages to researchers for several weeks now. His observation was simple. Every time a small swarm of magnitude 2 earthquakes appeared near his coastline, something significantly bigger followed within just a few days. Researchers were skeptical at first. He is not a scientist, he has no credentials. He is just someone who has been paying close attention. He has now been right 4 times in a row, which raises the question that nobody in mainstream media wants to answer right now. How much is already happening that we are simply not watching? Now let's talk about what is actually happening 385 miles underground and why it matters to everyone living above it. At that depth, rock does not crack the way it does near the surface. The pressure is simply too extreme. Instead, minerals physically transform into denser versions of themselves almost instantly. The volume collapses inward. It is essentially a subterranean implosion. The energy released is equivalent to 45 Hiroshima atomic bombs from a single event. And 50% of that energy does not stay down there. It radiates straight upward through miles of solid rock, loading fault systems closer to the surface. Think of it like someone deep underground slowly overpressurizing a pipe that runs directly under your city. You do not see it happening. You do not feel it building until the valve blows. We promised you this at 3:20. Here it is. Confirmed as of tonight. 2 locations sitting at the top of every serious watch list on the planet. Location 1, Fiji. 3 deep earthquakes in 30 days, all within miles of the same coordinates, each one deeper than the one before it. In geophysics, that specific pattern has a name. It is called foreshock sequencing. Translation: what just happened in Fiji may not be the earthquake. It may be the Earth clearing its throat before the real one arrives. Fiji has produced magnitude 8+ events multiple times in recorded history. The deep activity right now is consistent with what researchers call pre-rupture loading. Location 2, the Aleutian Islands, Alaska. And this one connects directly to the continental United States. Right now, seismicity across the entire Aleutian Island chain is spiking simultaneously. Dormant volcanoes, active volcanoes, the whole chain lighting up at once. That chain connects directly to the fault system running south through Washington, Oregon, all the way down through California. Energy does not care about state lines, it follows fault lines, and those lines run straight to where you live. Now here is the New Jersey piece we told you we would come back to, the detail that got buried immediately after the earthquake happened. January 30th, 2026, a magnitude 2.4 strikes Bedminster, New Jersey. Small on its own, barely newsworthy. Except it struck the exact same coordinates as the 4.8 from 18 months earlier, the largest East Coast quake in a decade. That fault is reactivating, same location, new movement, 18 months later. And here is why structural engineers pay close attention to this. The East Coast has almost no seismic building codes compared to California. The same magnitude quake that cracks a few windows in Los Angeles can collapse unreinforced brick buildings in Philadelphia, Baltimore, or Washington, D.C. 40 million Americans on the East Coast live in buildings that were never designed to move. The mainstream media covered none of this. Ask yourself why. Do not go anywhere, because the solar piece of this puzzle is what ties everything together, and it has a 72-hour window attached to it. Right now. Here's something that sounds impossible until you actually look at the data. Right now. For the first time in this entire solar cycle, there are 0 active sunspots on the Earth-facing side of the sun. 0. Our side is almost completely blank, but the far side of the sun, the side currently rotating toward us, is loaded with activity. A major sunspot cluster is rotating into Earth-facing position in approximately 72 hours. When it does, researchers are expecting the most solar active period we have seen in months. On top of that, there is already a massive coronal hole in Earth-facing position right now. A coronal hole is a gap in the sun's outer atmosphere. Think of it as a pressure valve pointed directly at Earth, shooting solar wind at 400 miles per second. And 50 years of seismic records show a consistent pattern. Large coronal holes aimed at Earth regularly precede spikes in major earthquake activity. Not sometimes, consistently. The mechanism works like this. Solar wind compresses Earth's magnetic field. That changes electrical currents in the crust, which shifts stress on fault systems. We are also entering the descending phase of solar cycle 25, historically. This phase produces more major earthquakes than solar maximum, not fewer, more. 2025 was already the 7th most seismically active year on record, with 0 magnitude 9 earthquakes. Every single year above it had at least one. 2026 is starting louder. This is Minute 6. We made you a promise. Here it is. Your 5-step earthquake plan. Start tonight. Step 1. Before you go to sleep tonight, put a pair of hard-soled shoes right next to your bed, not slippers. Hard-soled shoes. FEMA data shows that broken glass injuries are among the top causes of post-earthquake emergency room visits. Your bare feet will not protect you. This step takes 10 seconds. Step 2. Water. This week, not someday. 1 gallon per person per day, minimum 3 days worth. FEMA reports that 53% of Americans have 0 emergency water stored right now. Family of 4 means 12 gallons. Go get it. Step 3. Food that needs nothing. No cooking, no refrigerator, no power. Protein bars, canned goods with pull tabs, peanut butter, pouched tuna or salmon. Enough food for 72 hours. Step 4. When the ground starts moving. Drop to your hands and knees immediately. Get under a sturdy table or desk. Hold on and stay there until the shaking stops. Do not run outside while the ground is moving. Falling debris kills more people than the earthquake itself. Every time. Step 5. This is the one most families skip. Choose a meeting spot outside your home. About 1 block away, because cell towers go down, landlines fail. You need to know how to find each other without a phone. That entire plan takes 20 minutes to set up. A major earthquake gives you 0 seconds of warning. And that 72-hour clock we mentioned at the very start of this report is running right now. Do not look away now, because the next 90 seconds is where everything we have shown you locks together into one picture. Stack it all up. A 10-week seismic drought that just ended days ago. Deep earthquakes clustering in the exact same zone, getting deeper with each event. A massive coronal hole aimed directly at Earth tonight. A loaded sunspot cluster rotating into Earth-facing position in 72 hours. The solar cycle entering its descending phase, historically the most seismically dangerous period on record. An East Coast fault reactivating at the same location, with zero coverage from major media outlets. Alaska's entire island chain lighting up all at once, and an amateur tracker in Australia correctly calling major earthquakes 4 consecutive times while official agencies stayed silent. Any one of these factors alone, a researcher files a note and moves on. All of them at the same time is a completely different conversation. Geophysicists tracking global seismic rhythms currently put the probability of a full seismic burst at roughly 1 in 3. That means 5 or more major earthquakes in the next 2 weeks. That is not a certainty, but a 33% chance is not something you scroll past and forget about. Think about Mike in New Jersey. No shoes, no water, no plan. He survived a 4.8 and was shaken up for a week. He was fine. Now ask yourself this. What happens to the next person like Mike when it is a 6.5? In a brick building never designed to withstand shaking. On a coast where almost nobody has ever made an earthquake plan. You just spent 8 minutes learning more about what is actually happening beneath this country than most people who lived through the last major United States earthquake. Use that. Share this tonight with someone who lives in a brick building on the East Coast or anywhere along the Pacific, because the person who needs this most is almost certainly not watching right now. In our next report, we are covering the fault system that keeps seismologists up at night more than any other fault on Earth. It runs 700 miles off the Pacific Northwest coast. It has ruptured at magnitude 9 plus multiple times in recorded history. The last time it let go was January 26, 1700, 325 years ago, when it ruptures again. And geologists say when, not if. The shaking will last 4 to 6 full minutes without stopping. Entire sections of coastline will permanently drop 6 feet within minutes of the rupture. 4.5 million Americans live in the direct impact zone. Most of them have never heard its name. We are going to show you exactly where it is, who is most at risk, and what the current solar and seismic data says about its timing. That report is next. Do not miss it.